Hello, I'm Eric Wind with Geodata Plus, special correspondent for the Mortgage News Network. With me today is Phil Tesoriero. Phil is known throughout much of the tri-state area simply as the short sale guy. Welcome, Phil.
Thank you.
Phil, for those who are watching and don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Started my real estate career back in 2001, working for some of the local brokerages. Mostly started out in the REO side of the business. Opened up my first brokerage sometime around 2004, and during those big boom years of real estate, running a real estate brokerage, and had great success back then. Around 2007, I became very active in the short sale part of the industry and began speaking on many of the short sale topics, writing certain courses for the different boards of real estate, as well as the national boards of real estate. And as of late, somewhere around 2012, kind of ended my speaking career and started spending more time back in my local market, negotiating and consulting with other real estate agents on how to do short sales and getting them completed successfully.
Phil has literally helped thousands of real estate practitioners learn how to handle short sales and loan modifications in an ethical and profitable manner. As a matter of fact, you co-wrote the class that is used now by the National Association of Realtors for short sales. Is that correct?
I've consulted with the National Association, and I've taught the class many times.
Phil, I was on Geodata last night comparing statistics for 2013 against 2014, specifically for New York City. And here's some interesting things that I found. In 2013, 4.2% of all residential sales were foreclosure related. In 2014, that number went down to 3.9%. And the same thing happened with list pendants, pre-foreclosures. In 2013, just under 20,000 residential list pendants were filed. And in 2014, that number went down by 1.9%. So these are positive trends for real estate. Does that mean that business is down for short sale practitioners like yourself?
No, not necessarily. The statistics are very interesting. What I can tell you is clients that I spoke to on my way here this morning, they're not aware of those statistics, and for them, the fact that they have to complete a short sale is an epidemic. So business is not necessarily down as far as short sales goes, as far as list pendants goes. You'll see that many banks, their inventory as far as REO sales, those are the properties that are being taken back by the lenders. You're starting to see those inventories increase, which means possibly some of those folks weren't as proactive as they could have been. I use Geodata all the time relative to seeing the new list pendants. I've been using it for years, always finding those new list pendants to be able to generate that much more business, to find those folks that need the help to complete a short sale or a loan modification.
All right, so what you're saying is there's still a huge market for distressed real estate transactions, such as short sales and loan modifications.
My personal opinion is that there is always a good market for the distressed real estate world. Since I've started in real estate, I have always had the majority of my efforts focused on the distressed aspect of the market. So even during our unbelievable boom years, there was still a lot of folks that needed help, either liquidating a property. They may have had equity, but they still needed to liquidate that property, or as what we're seeing now, because of the depressed values that took place over the last few years, many folks have the option to liquidate and sell through a short sale, which still gets them out of the woods and allows them to move on with their life and still successfully sell those properties.
So I came across some recent news stories. You may not have heard of these, but I'm sure you've heard of other ones that are just like it. This one I got off the FBI website. A California real estate broker pled guilty to orchestrating a property flipping scheme in which he purchased houses in short sales at artificially low prices and immediately resold the properties at the true market value. Timothy William Barnes admitted that in many cases he had already negotiated the short sale at the higher price while he was simultaneously negotiating the short sale of the property at the lower price.
That's a flat-out illegal action. Banks will tell you from the onset of negotiating a short sale that, number one, the property can't go back on the market for some set number of days once you have an accepted offer, whether it's 30, 60, or 90 days. This goes back to the old way of doing short sales. During the last crash of real estate back to the 80s, where people were putting themselves in the middle with doing short sales, negotiating a higher value, doing assignable contracts. Banks have gotten away from that, and this gentleman, once again, has come up with a brand new idea, which is decades old, and has found himself in the same situation as many of those people did in the past, come up with these scams and schemes and winding up in jail. This
This is another person who probably could have benefited from your short sale class. A former Bank of America mortgage employee was sentenced to 30 months in prison for pocketing $1.2 million in payoffs to approve sales of distressed properties for less than their actual value. Kevin Lauricella, 29, who had worked for Bank of America, pled guilty in January to accepting bribes and falsifying bank records.
Well, first of all, I'd have to state that I find it difficult to believe that Bank of America, with all their legal woes, would have an employee that would engage in such an activity, that he was taking payoffs for such a thing to take place. But again, it's the green-headed, ugly monster, an opportunity for somebody involved in the default real estate game, seeing a shortcut to pull down a nice $1.2 million. That's a pretty good annual salary for somebody to pull down if they don't get caught. It's one of the things I tell clients and agents all the time is many of these ideas, many of these shortcuts, these angles have already been traveled, and many of the people get caught. The risk reward in any business has to be, if I engage in a certain behavior, is it worth the legal trouble, the possible jail time, the fines, as well as the damage to your reputation as a long-term business practitioner in this real estate game.
So I guess what a lot of people want to know then is, how do you succeed in the business of short sale and loan modifications without going to jail? What are some of your best practices?
Well, the first thing is being straight with folks, being honest. It's a pretty simple formula. When I engage a new client, or even when a new real estate agent comes to me and wants me to have a conversation with their client, if I'm negotiating a short sale, I actually insist on speaking to the client because I want to explain to them. It's a foreclosure situation. Not all of the news is going to be good. A lot of the news is going to be bad. Some of it's going to be unpleasant. But at the end, the wonderful part about it is the mortgage will go away, the property will be sold, and they can move on with their life. So being honest, being straightforward with clients, I like to get all the bad news out in the beginning. This way it's done. The practices as a professional working in the short sale industry is being able to find those folks who need your assistance and need your help. That's something that I use Geodata for. I've been using Geodata for that for several years, and the list pendants recording has gotten even better as the years have worn on, and the information is getting more useful. I see you guys have added phone numbers and contact information on a lot of these properties, and it's making it that much easier to engage and touch these people. For me personally, sometimes I make phone calls, sometimes I'm knocking on doors, and just letting people know that this is our service, it exists, give them a brief overview of what we do, and a certain percentage of those people are going to come back and you're going to do business with them.
That's great, Phil. Any final words for anybody else in the business that you can share with them as far as how to succeed?
Again, from the short sale aspect of things, or in real estate in general, I guess, is just being straightforward and honest with clients. Letting them know, having in the beginning a conversation that sets expectations for what they're about to embark on. From my world of short sales, again, it's not always wonderful news. I like to give them the bad news up front, plan for the worst, hope for the best. We have to do the right thing for folks, and we have to get them to the other side without doing any of those things, that the news stories that we've gone through, that we don't need to do those things to get to a successful ending.
Phil, thanks again for joining us today at Hands on the Market. Always good hanging out with you.
It's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much for having me, and thanks for the coffee.
You're welcome. I'm Eric Wind with Hands on the Market, sponsored by Geodata Plus. Thanks for watching.
This is Mortgage News Network.